Hare Krishna. So thank you for coming to class. Tonight a very famous verse. Every brahmachari knows this verse tonight. Whether they follow it or not, I don't know. So we have Madanga player. Everything is okay. Oh, here, this is. He was born with Madanga in the hand. He's from Bengal. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Jana Balava Giridharadhari. Gopi Jana Balava Giridharadhari. Yasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Jana Balava Giridharadhari. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivagacharya Srimad His Divine Grace Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Goswāmī Maharaj Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivagacharya Srimad Divine Grace Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Goswāmī Maharaj Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Śrīla Ṭhākura Bhakti Vinod Ki Jai. Shri Guru Parampara Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad-gītā as it is, Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Go Premananda Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta-padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rūpam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Prijana Sahitam Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Kṛṣṇa Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Rishavana Suta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavad-gītā as it is, translation and commentary, Śrīla Prabhupada. Today's verse is number 17, 6th chapter, entitled Jnana Yoga. So it's on the board there. Like I say, very famous verse for all good brahmacharis to live by. Please repeat. Yuktāhāra-vihārasya yukta-ceṣṭasya karmasu yukta-svapnāvabodhasya yogo bhavati duḥkha-hā yuktāhāra-vihārasya yukta-ceṣṭasya karmasu yukta-svapnāvabodhasya yogo bhavati duḥkha-hā yuktāhāra-vihārasya yukta-ceṣṭasya karmasu yukta-svapnāvabodhasya yogo bhavati duḥkha-hā. Vaishnavis, yuktāhāra-vihārasya, yukta-ceṣṭasya karmasu, yukta-svapna-avabodhasya, yogo bhavati duḥkha-hā. Okay, word for word, please repeat. Yukta, regulated. Āhāra, eating. Vihārasya, recreation. Yukta, regulated. Ceṣṭasya, of one who works for maintenance. Karmasu, in discharging duties. Yukta, regulated. Svapna-avabodhasya, sleep and wakefulness. Yogaḥ, the practice of yoga. Bhavati, becomes. duḥkha-hā, diminishing pains. Translation, Śrīla Prabhupada. One who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. Please repeat. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. Purport, Śrīla Prabhupada. Extravagance in the matter of eating, sleeping, defending and mating, which are the demands of the body, can block advancement in the practice of yoga. As far as eating is concerned, it can be regulated only when one is practiced to take and accept prasādam, sanctified food. Lord Kṛṣṇa is offered according to the Bhagavad-gītā 9:26, vegetables, flowers, fruits, grains, milk, etc. In this way, a person in Kṛṣṇa consciousness becomes automatically trained not to accept food not meant for human consumption or not in the category of goodness. As far as sleeping is concerned, a Kṛṣṇa conscious person is always alert in the discharge of his duties in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, and therefore any unnecessary time spent sleeping is considered a great loss. Avyartha-kālatvam. A Kṛṣṇa conscious person cannot bear to pass a minute of his life without being engaged in the service of the Lord. Therefore his sleeping is kept to a minimum. His ideal in this respect is Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī, who was always engaged in the service of Kṛṣṇa and who could not sleep more than 2 hours a day, and sometimes not even that. Haridāsa Thakur would not even accept prasādam, nor even sleep for a moment, without finishing his daily routine of chanting with his beads 300,000 names. As far as work is concerned, a Kṛṣṇa conscious person does not do anything which is not connected with Kṛṣṇa's interest. And thus his work is always regulated and is untainted by sense gratification. Since there is no question of sense gratification, there is no material leisure for a person in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. And because he is regulated in all his work, speech, sleep, wakefulness, and all other bodily activities, there is no material misery for him. Mukam karoci vācālam bhangam laite grim yad kripa tamaham vande Shri Guru dinatarinam. Yuktāhāra-vihārasya, yukta-ceṣṭasya karmasu, yukta-svapna-avabodhasya, yogo bhavati duḥkha-hā. He who is regulated in the habits of eating, sleeping, recreation and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. So, very interesting. Prabhupada mentions there in the purport that Rūpa Gosvāmī would only sleep not more than 2 hours a day, and sometimes not even that. And Haridāsa Thakur he would not eat or sleep until he'd finished 3 lakh nam, which is about 160, 170 rounds. Of course, sometimes in the temple, we have brahmacharis that cannot sleep, or that cannot finish 16 rounds without sleeping. So we have a lot of work to do. And the magic word is yukta, regulated. By regulated practice, we can improve. Of course, Rupa Gosvāmī, Śrīla Prabhupada, Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta, Ṭhākura Haridāsa, these are Mahabhagavad devotees, but they are showing a standard. I remember when I was a new devotee in the London temple, the devotees told me, Śrīla Prabhupada, he only sleeps 2 hours a day. So I thought, okay. I was a new man, I didn't know anything. I thought, they're very enthusiastic. They love Prabhupada very much, so they want to glorify him in an enthusiastic way. And I said, well, that's okay. So I didn't argue. But I would say, how is it possible that one can live on 2 hours of sleep a day? But then, years later, I met one devotee, Krishna Kishore. He's gone to Kṛṣṇa now, in Hyderabad temple. And when Prabhupada visited the Hyderabad temple, Krishna Kishore would sleep outside the door, like a chowkidar. So, Prabhupada was the big Swami, so all the big Hindu guys were coming from Hyderabad and Secunderabad to talk to the big Swami. So Prabhupada would talk with them, so on and so forth. And then about 10 o'clock, Krishna Kishore told me, he would go to sleep. He would take some puri and some milk, and then go to sleep at 10 o'clock. And Krishna Kishore, like faithful disciple, he would sleep outside the door just to see Prabhupada was safe. And then every night, Krishna Kishore told me, Prabhupada was only staying about 10 days. Every night, the light would come on at 12 o'clock, midnight. Krishna Kishore would see under the door. And then he would hear Prabhupada chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and walking back and forward in the room. And then after that, chanting, Prabhupada would sit down and translate and comment on the Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada was there like over a week, and this went on every night. And some nights, some days, Prabhupada would take lunch, and he would maybe sleep half an hour after lunch. But then all the big men from Hyderabad, they wanted to talk to the Swami, so they would come, and Prabhupada would talk and discuss in the afternoon. Prabhupada would go for morning walk here and there in the park, so on and so forth. So sometimes in the day, Prabhupada would take half an hour rest after lunch, and then at night, no alarm clock. He would go to sleep at 10 o'clock, and he would wake up at 12 o'clock. And all day he'd be talking and discussing, counseling devotees, giving lectures, traveling to this program, and so on. So I was amazed. It's correct. Prabhupada was sleeping 2, maximum 3 hours a day, and traveling all the time. So this is the position of the Mahabhagavad, that the body follows him. He doesn't follow his body. Right? We're conditioned by this body, so when the body wants food, we have to get food. When the body wants sleep, we have to go to sleep. But the yogi, his mind, his consciousness is fixed on the absolute truth, and he's energized in that way. And so he is the master of the senses. So the standard is there, as it is given here: eating, sleeping, recreation and work. That these should be regulated. That means that we should find what is suitable for our own position and follow that in a regulated way. Not that we think, oh, Prabhupada only slept 2 hours, so I will just sleep 2 hours and 1 hour in the day. You may manage that for a week or so, but then your health will suffer. Correct? So you should be regulated, as the word here, yukta, is used 3 times. Yes, 3 times. So regulated in a manner that is suitable for your own particular condition. Right? If you try to artificially, just through material austerity, imitate a Paramahamsa, then that will be not good. So how can we choose that system of regulation? That regulation should be chosen with a view that it will help us to hear and chant nicely. It will help us in hearing the Bhagavad philosophy, in chanting the holy name, in doing Krishna Smaranam, going to Bhagavatam, doing some practical service, that the regulation will be fruitful in that degree. So we should have that in mind. And that is sadhana bhakti. So in this chapter, I was reading this morning all the verses, and you can see that in this chapter there is discussion of the Ashtanga yoga process. So this verse is particularly important for the Ashtanga yogi. In the Vedas, we know, we've been discussing, there is karma yoga, jnana yoga, then there is this Ashtanga yoga, sometimes called Raj yoga, sometimes called Kriya yoga. Kriya means practice. Sometimes Hatha yoga is thrown in there. So, and then there is Bhakti yoga. So at the end of this sloka, at the end of this chapter, Kṛṣṇa says, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatein antaratmana shraddhavam bhajate yomam same yuktato mata. That of all the yogis, the one that is united with me in great faith and loving devotion, he is the highest. So in these 4 categories of yoga, broad categories, the important word is yoga. Yoga means plus, or union, connection. So whatever the form of yoga that is practiced, like we say, yukta-hā, that is most suitable for the particular person, the goal must be the union with the transcendental platform, with the spiritual energy, atato brahma jignas. That the material activities of eating, sleeping, recreation and work, mentioned here, that they should be regulated so that these material demands of the material body do not, but rather enhance our remembrance of the Supreme Lord. So, in all the chapters, starting in 2nd chapter, 3rd chapter, 4th chapter, 5th chapter, Kṛṣṇa is giving some knowledge, and then he is giving the qualities, the guna, that the devotee should practice. He's talking about karma yoga, he's talking about jnana, now he's talking, and he always, at the later part of the chapter, if you notice, Kṛṣṇa explains the devotee should act in this way. And basically it means this, that he should act in such a way that he is tranquil. He is dhīra. Prabhupada, one lecture, I was just listening this morning, he says there's two types of people in this world. There is the dhīra and the adhīra. The dhīra means sober person, adhīra means agitated. So the dhīra person is not agitated by the material energy. He is trying to maintain himself in the mode of goodness, in balanced mentality. Because from that position, he can place his consciousness on the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa. And he can perform the highest form of yoga by placing his consciousness on the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa with priti purvakam, with loving attitude. But the adhīra person, he wants dhanam, janam, sundarim. He's agitated in the material world. He wants wealth, he wants respectability, high position, followers, sex life, a big dynasty, material opulence. So he's very desirous of these things, and he's endeavoring in those things, and therefore he's interacting in the material world, trying to get these things, and he's struggling with the material energy, struggling with the taxman to become wealthy, struggling with the neighbors, struggling with this way. So he becomes adhīra. He always becomes frustrated, especially in Kali Yuga, quarrel and hypocrisy. There's very little shanti. Kṛṣṇa explains, without peace, how can there be happiness? So now in Kali Yuga, you see everyone is fighting, countries fighting, people fighting, everyone agitated. Nobody is practicing this peacefulness, this tranquility. And this tranquility will become natural for those that chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Because they will gradually realize the spiritual platform. And the more they realize the spiritual platform, the more the consciousness will flow towards the spiritual platform. So that is the purpose of human life. In human life, we can contact directly, personally, the Supreme Lord in his three phases: Brahmatmiti, Paramatmiti, Bhagavan. We can, his bodily effulgence, his Paramatma feature regulating the material world, and his Leelamai Bhagavan, Kṛṣṇa, in Goloka, Gokula, performing wondrous activities with his devotees. So the realization of Brahman, Atato Brahma Jignas, means that. It means to realize the Supreme Lord and his Leela, and then to enter into it. Because that is what we are made for. Jivara Svarupo Nichera Krishna Das. We are not meant for this material world. We're not meant for the cycle of birth, death, old age and disease. We're not meant for this temporary existence. We're not meant for adidevic, adibodic, adiatmic misery. We're not meant for that. We are meant to live eternally in the transcendental world. And how is that done? Janma kama tame divyam evam yo bhati tatpataha takva deham punarjanma naitimam meti sarjana. Those that realize the spiritual nature, divyam, the spiritual quality of Krishna's pastimes and birth in this world, they never take birth again. They attain the supreme abode. So Kṛṣṇa, in very succinct form, is giving us information. Okay, how do I go to that eternal atmosphere? How do I develop my Svarup? Kṛṣṇa is explaining just in a few words. Janma karma tame divyam. Understand the transcendental, the spiritual, nature of my appearance in this world, my janma, my lila, janma karma, and my activities, understand them as spiritual. How? With purified spiritual awoken consciousness. Kṛṣṇa is understood through pure consciousness, not through the material body, but through the soul. That's very interesting. Let me see if I can find it. It's in the purport. Yes. Yes, it's in the purport of this verse. It's a very interesting piece of knowledge for us. The sloka, of course, Premam jana charita bhakti vilochanena santaksadeva hridayeso vilokayanti yam sama sundaram achincha guna swarupam govindamadi purisham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Shyam Sundar, Kṛṣṇa himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts with the eye of devotion, tinged with the salve of love. So again, this point is there, that Kṛṣṇa is seen within the heart. Kṛṣṇa is the soul of the soul, with the eye of devotion tinged with the salve of love. Premanjana Charita. So some people think, oh, I'll be in Loy Bazaar and I'll see Kṛṣṇa. I'll have Premanjana Charita on my eye. I'll put some kanjal. Not many people think that. But here in the sloka is explanation what it means to see Kṛṣṇa in the heart, to realize Kṛṣṇa directly. Yes. When Kṛṣṇa manifested himself in Vraja, both the devotee and non-devotee saw him with this very eye. But only the devotees cherished him, eternally present in Braj, as the priceless jewel of their heart. Nowadays also the devotees see him in Vraja in their hearts, saturated with devotion, although they do not see him with their eyes. Very interesting. Prabhupada, or the purport is explaining that in those days, the non-devotees, devotees, they could see with their eyes. Kṛṣṇa was manifest on this plane. But still nowadays, still devotees are seeing Kṛṣṇa in Braj, but within their hearts, with the eye saturated with devotion, although they do not see him with their external eyes. The eye of devotion is nothing but the eye of the pure unalloyed spiritual self of the jiva. The form of Kṛṣṇa is visible to that eye in proportion to its purification by the practice of devotion. When the devotion of the neophyte reaches the stage of bhava bhakti, the pure eye of that devotee is tinged with the salve of love by the grace of Kṛṣṇa, which enables him to see Kṛṣṇa face to face. The phrase, in their hearts, means Kṛṣṇa is visible in proportion as their hearts are purified by the practice of devotion. The sum and substance of this sloka is that the form of Kṛṣṇa, who is Shyam Sundar, Navavrata, best dancer, Muladhar, holder of the flute, Tribhanga, triple bending, is not a mental concoction, but is transcendental, and is visible with the eye of the soul of the devotee under trance. So this is the Swarup. We talk about the Swarup. So in the developed devotee, the Swarup becomes manifest fully at Bhava Bhakti. And at Bhava Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti means ecstatic devotion. At Bhava Bhakti, one's consciousness is purified to the extent that he can reciprocate with Kṛṣṇa and realize Kṛṣṇa directly. So that is the eye of devotion that reveals Kṛṣṇa. Until that time, you may say, how can I see Kṛṣṇa? I don't have Bhava Bhakti. So then we should employ Shastra Chakshus. We should see, Chakshus means eyes, we should see through the Shastra, the eye of the Shastra. Therefore, it is in the Bhagavatam, the sages ask, where is Dharma, religiosity? Where is yoga now that Kṛṣṇa has gone? Where is he gone? So the Sutta Goswāmī answers, Paranaka dunodita, klonasta drishamesha paranaka dunodita. Yes, now that Kṛṣṇa has gone to his abode, but in the Srimad Bhagavatam, people who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of Kali Yuga can see Kṛṣṇa through the Bhagavatam. Kṛṣṇa is a Rasa Shastra, it is the Amala Paran. So the devotees, they study regularly, Nasta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. They read the Bhagavatam, and through that Shastra, they see Kṛṣṇa. So this is the important part for a sadhaka like myself. Bhava Bhakta is seeing directly, Janma Kama Tame Divyam. He's seeing the spiritual platform through ecstatic devotion. The spiritual platform is ecstatic. So to properly realize the spiritual platform, we have to become ecstatic. But, I'm still a sadhaka. I'm still having trouble regulating my senses and mind. So then how can I see Kṛṣṇa? Then we will see Kṛṣṇa through the Shastra, through the Bhagavatam, through the Sadhu Sangha, through Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam. Through these practices of sadhana bhakti, we see Kṛṣṇa. And this is called Buddhi Yoga. We're using the intelligence to conjure up, to recall Kṛṣṇa. Just like at the beginning of the Bhagavatam, Narada Muni, he learned how to meditate from the Bhakti Vedantas. And then those Bhakti Vedantas, they left after Chaturmasya. So Narada Muni, in his previous life, he left home. He was bound by his mother's affection, but she died one day by a snake bite when she was getting water. So he felt free. So he went roaming up to the north, and he would practice every day, morning and evening, meditation on Manasik Murti, the form of Kṛṣṇa within the mind. This is Buddhi Yoga. Using his intelligence, he is constructing the form of Kṛṣṇa within the mind, and he's doing puja, and he's developing devotion to that form. So he's seeing through the Shastra, through the sadhus, through the instruction of the sadhus, the description of the sadhu. Here is Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa is Tribhanga, here is Radha, this is the Ras Leela. And then with his mind, he is constructing this vision in his mind. And then he's doing puja to that, bhajan to that. He's chanting, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And he's offering his chanting like flowers at the lotus feet of this murti within the mind. So Narada Muni one day, he sat down, he was doing his meditation, and then instead of the Manasik Murti, Kṛṣṇa himself appeared. Kṛṣṇa himself appeared. And Narada Muni became ecstatic, enlivened, seeing the form of Kṛṣṇa. But then the form of Kṛṣṇa went away. So Narada tried to bring back that form by meditation, but he couldn't. Then Kṛṣṇa spoke to him, said, Narada, those that are not completely pure in heart, they cannot see me. But to encourage you, I have appeared before you to inspire you in your meditation, in your spiritual practice. So carry on in this way, and you will surely come to me. So when we surrender to Kṛṣṇa, though these rules and regulations are there, that Kṛṣṇa is fully visible to the bhava bhakta, if we are full of desire and we perform sadhana bhakti with that desire to see Kṛṣṇa, then Kṛṣṇa may appear to us in order to encourage us, even though we are in an immature stage. We sing every day, right? Ye prasādē āshā. By the grace of the Guru, all the desires are fulfilled. So Narottam Das is explaining, Lokanath Goswami is explaining that the devotee is not becoming desireless. In some forms of yoga, the nihilists, the voidists, they meditate on the nothing. You cannot meditate on nothing, because as soon as you think you're meditating on nothing, you're actually meditating on something that you think is nothing. So they are meditating in a contradictory manner, but the devotee is meditating on the form of Kṛṣṇa. So Kṛṣṇa may appear to the devotee to encourage him, but who will he appear to? We should desire. You understand? In the 12th chapter, Kṛṣṇa tells Arjuna, just fix your mind upon me without deviation, and in that way you live in me always. So that's the uttamadhikari. Fix your mind. Your mind is flowing towards Kṛṣṇa like the river Ganga flowing to the sea. That is samadhi. Now, how can I conjure up that? How can I get that? By practice. But I should desire that condition. This is the important point. The nihilist, he practiced yoga and they try to become free of desire. This is the Buddhistic idea. We are entangled in the material forest by desire. So if we want nirvana, we want to become free of the material forest. So if we get rid of desire, then we will not become drawn into the forest, trying to enjoy and exploit the forest, the material world. So desire is the problem. But this is an artificial construct. Because desire is there, it is the nature of the soul. Kṛṣṇa desires lila. At the beginning of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 1, Adi Lila, it explains that Radha and Kṛṣṇa are one. But to enjoy the bliss of pastimes, they have separated themselves eternally. So Godhead is one, but eternally separated into Purusha and Prakriti. Why? To enjoy bliss. Because of why? The desire to enjoy bliss. Radha and Krishna, they desire to enjoy bliss. The whole reason for creation is the desire to experience ecstatic Krishna prema. So we, as little samples of Krishna, angsa of Krishna, we are also desiring entities. We also desire. We don't want unhappiness, we want happiness. We don't want displeasure, we want pleasure. We don't want poverty, we want opulence. We want pleasurable things. That is our nature. That is the part of Krishna that is within us. Krishna is Leela-mayi. This is explained very nicely by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the Jaiva Dharma. He explains that Krishna is Atmarama. There's one verse, Atmaramas chamuneo nigrantha apirukame kurvanti ahotikim praktim bhaktim prakti uttata. That the Supreme Lord is Atmaram. He is fully self-satisfied. But Bhaktivinoda very nicely explains this. He explains that though all pleasure is within the Supreme Lord, still he wants to express himself in Leela. For example, you may be a great musician and you know how to play sitar, guitar, piano, whatever. You know how to sing beautifully, all right? But you want to express that ability, right? You want to gather your friends around and have a nice kirtan, make nice music. You want to express your abilities. So yes, all opulence and ability and bliss is within Krishna, but he wants to express himself. Therefore he's called Leela-mayi, enjoying Leela. He is desirous of Leela. So similarly, we also Leela-mayi, we want to enjoy pastimes. We want to interact with people. We want to go here, we want to go there. We want to have a nice kirtan. We want to talk with our friends. This is similar to Krishna. We can understand Krishna in this way. Krishna enjoys the company of his devotees. He enjoys seeing the bliss of his devotees. As Krishna, he wants to become Radharani so that he can understand his own wonderful quality and feel the bliss that she feels and feel the mood of service that she feels, and therefore he becomes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Leela-mayi, that is our nature too. But the problem is we are trying to enjoy in an unregulated, undisciplined way in the material world. And that is not suitable for a spiritual being. So therefore sadhana bhakti is there. So we should desire to go to the spiritual world. Do you see this point? We shouldn't think, I'm in this material world because of material desire. I'll stop desire. No. Transform your desire. I want to go to the spiritual world. I want to be situated in my Swarup. I want to realize Krishna. I want to enter the Leela of Krishna. Huh? There is one song, right? Isn't it? Śrīla Rūpa Manjari Pada Se Mora Sampada. So Narottam is singing a song to Rupa Manjari. So that, not Rupa Gosvāmī, Rupa Manjari. So again, as said it here, this is the action of the spiritual body. He is singing in his Swarup, offering bhajan to Rupa Manjari, and I'm offering all my mantra, all my japa, all my tapasya, all my study, all my meditation. I'm offering it to Rupa Manjari. And I'm hoping that Rupa Manjari will bless me. with spiritual realization, with spiritual perfection. So this is very important. We may be doing sadhana, going mangalarti, chanting our rounds, yuktāhāra-vihārasya, doing everything. But within our heart, we must be cultivating the desire. That is sadhana bhakti. And you'll find that in the 12th chapter. Like I say, I think it's verse 6 and 7, Kṛṣṇa says, just fix your mind upon me, be an uttamadhikari. But then he says, but if you cannot follow, if you cannot do that, then follow the rules and regulation of sadhana bhakti. And in that way, you will develop the desire to attain me. So the problem is, we don't desire Kṛṣṇa, we enjoy, we want to sense gratification. So how do we get the desire? By Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevam, by Sadhu Sangha, by Asat Sangi, giving up bad association. But in the center, whatever the situation is, whether we're young, old, male, female, whatever, we have to maintain the desire. Because in our desire is our direction. Do you understand that? You can have all the best sadhu sangha in the world, but if you don't cultivate the desire, you must have the desire. So that is the central point of sadhana bhakti, to cultivate the desire to attain Kṛṣṇa. And therefore Narottam is saying, I'm doing all my japa, I'm doing all my study, I'm doing all my dhyan, my meditation. It's an offering to you, Rupa Manjari. It's an offering. Now please fulfill my desire. Please take me as your servant. So this is very important. We are desiring beings. We're in the material world because we're desiring the wrong thing. But if we read the Bhagavatam, we chant Hare Krishna, we perform sadhu sangha very fruitfully, then we will desire Kṛṣṇa. And then we can become uttamadhikari, realize Kṛṣṇa directly. And if we don't, and how do we develop desire? What does Hare Krishna mantra mean? O Radha, O Kṛṣṇa, please engage me in your service. It is not parrot. No, it is a calling to Kṛṣṇa. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, he said, we have opened a crying school. We are crying for Kṛṣṇa. And I heard story in Mayapur, Sadhananda Kunj, just across the Saraswati, there is the compound of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So I heard story that Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he would get up in the middle of the night, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and he would walk in the garden shouting at the top of his voice, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And all the neighbors would hear him. 2 o'clock. He's shouting, calling Radha and Kṛṣṇa. He wasn't, he was expressing himself. And it explained that, it's mentioned here in Haridas Thakur, he chanting 3 lakh nam. So it's the first lakh of nam he would perform as kirtan, loud chanting. And then the second lakh he would chant as upamants. Upamants japa means quiet chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare. And the third lakh he would chant manasik, within the mind. So we should know those 3. There is sankirtan, kirtan, loud chanting, upamants, very quiet chanting within the mouth, and then there is manasik japa. So Ṭhākura Haridāsa would chant those 3 lakhs in that manner, I have heard. But the Hare Krishna mantra, we must practice desire. O Radha, O Krishna, O Gurudev, O Rūpa Gosvāmī, please take me from this world. What does Lord Chaitanya say? Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitamam vishvavevavam buddho kripaya tava pankaja stuti dale sadrisim vichintaya. O son of Nanda Maharaj Krishna, I am your servant, but I've fallen down in this world. Please, please pick me up and put me on your lotus feet as an atom of dust. So this is desire. This is desiring, right? Desiring in the right direction. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much for your kind association. I'm inspired by your Vaishnava association. That's why I can say something. Any question? Yes, Matidi. Speak loudly, like a lion. Yes? Oh, I haven't. How many rounds did he chant? Well, I've not heard a particular definition on that, but I know that it is a stipulation that a devotee, he should choose a number of rounds, even if it's just 4 or 8 or 16 or 32, and he should stick on that. Say I decide 16 rounds, Prabhupada demanding, then I should stick to that. Not one day I'll do 15. I should stick to my yajna. So we can understand that Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he would chant a fixed amount of rounds, but then extra rounds can be chanted also. But I've not heard, I know that his son, Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, once chanted 1 billion names, right? He made a little lean-to in Mayapur, and it took him 9 years. He chanted 1 billion names. Then he started the Gaudiya Math. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I cannot say unless I have heard something, but no doubt he was, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a Uttamadhikari, so he is immersed in Krishna Prem. You can see in his writings. Yes, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta. And then he started Gaudiya Math after 1 billion name, and he initiated his first disciple, who was Odalambi Maharaj, who is the godbrother of Prabhupada's sannyas guru, Keshav Maharaj. So Odalambi Maharaj is the first disciple. But he chanted 1 billion names, then he started preaching. Very interesting. Bharati Bhumi Manusha Janma Hoya. Kṛṣṇa is explaining, said, make your life perfect and then give this name to everyone. So at the beginning we must realize Kṛṣṇa, and then we'll have inspiration to distribute Kṛṣṇa. Huh? Say again? Huh?
One of his godbrother, Kṛṣṇa Prabhu is gone. Is God Kṛṣṇa?
Who?
Kṛṣṇa Kishore, what is his name? Prabhupada's son.
Yeah, in Hyderabad. I believe so. I haven't seen him for years. I heard he had a lung problem and he left. Kṛṣṇa Kishore. Oh, Have I got his name right? From Hyderabad temple.
Maybe last 10, 15 days they will call me from somewhere.
Huh?
For 15 or 20 days they will call me from somewhere in person books.
It's not clear, the mic.
For 15 or 20, maybe month back.
Oh, you saw him?
No, didn't see, but he called me from somewhere.
You have to learn to adjust the microphone. There's too much bass.
I don't remember how long back, but maybe 1 month back, he called me from somewhere.
Well, maybe we got the wrong, maybe I'm not saying his name correct. He used to stay in Prabhupada's rooms in Radha Damodar. He's still with us. I was told he'd gone to Golok. He's a very nice devotee, very humble, very deep voice. I was there, I was running temple in Hyderabad, 1981. He was there. We were fixing everything. The temple was in a bad condition. He's a nice devotee. Very gentle, very humble, very Vaishnava quality, very sweet person. So he's still here. Where?
He was staying in near the other Shamsundar temple, there was Shaligram temple.
Yeah.
So after the Damodar temple, he went there, he was there long time.
You saw him recently.
Not recently. He called me from somewhere.
Well, you tell him Keshi Dhamma wants to see him. You know my place. You tell him to go there. I'll feed him. I have a lot of nice fruit in the fridge. I'll give him a watermelon. Somebody said that he'd gone to Golok. He's already in Golok. He's a Vaishnava. Okay. Any other question, statement, contribution? All right. Thank you all very much. See you next Friday. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Sadhu Sangha ki jai. Jai.